afternoon. I am Mary Anglade. I'm the founder of Builder Lead Marketing. I'd like to welcome you to the Builder and Modular Manufacturers Content Engine Video Blogging and Authority Building. I'd also like to congratulate you on taking the time to learn modern marketing methods to move your business along. I think you are in the minority, so congratulations for that. So I'd like to start this webinar out with a couple of questions. The first being, what if your prospects came to you pre-positioned to buy? Today, 70 to 80% of a buyer's journey is complete before they ever pick up the phone. So imagine if you were the builder or you were the manufacturer they already trusted. And what if one video could be turned into 10 blog posts and a steady stream of traffic and leads? Those are the questions we are aiming to answer in today's webinar. So our agenda includes a short introduction, welcome. We're going to jump into the customer's online journey, what inbound marketing is and why it matters, the content pillars, video and blogging. Real world examples will be sprinkled throughout the webinar, how you can get started, and we'll wrap up with some next steps. The webinar is being recorded. It will be on YouTube as well, and we'll send it out within a week of today's date. You can email me directly if you have any questions at manglade@builderleadmarketing.com, and we'll get back to you. We are holding monthly webinars, and please connect with us. As I mentioned, we have a free YouTube channel where we put up this content. We also cut it into shorts, so it's really easy. Sometimes if you just don't have time to watch an entire webinar, you can actually just go in and maybe see the part you wanted to remember. And please share if you know anyone else. We really enjoy offering these complimentary webinars, and I will be sharing some links and how you can connect with us in a few slides. On that note, we already have our next webinar. We're going to be doing local marketing, how builders can dominate their market with smart local marketing. You can sign up today if you're like, well, that's a month away. It's going to be October 22nd. We do send out a couple of email reminders. We won't hound you or anything like that. And the other thing that will happen is even if you can't attend the webinar, you will get the recording. So highly recommend that you sign up. It's easy as we all get busy to miss the communications about these free events. So who am I? I'm Mary Anglade, as I mentioned. I have over 25 years of experience in general management and marketing. I actually started my career in finance. So I was working for a bank in New York City. I worked in the garment center, and I was a credit analyst, and then I was a lender. So, excuse me. I very familiar with how businesses make money, not just agencies or even builders, but have a really solid financial background. And I bring that data-driven approach to marketing. So I think it really sets us apart as an agency, but it also, digital marketing, excuse me, I'm going to just have a sip of water. I have a frog in my throat. Digital marketing is just very, very measurable. So that's been extremely beneficial. We are associate members of the Modular Home Builders Association. I'm actually going to be a featured speaker in November. I will be conducting a workshop where you can create your own digital marketing plan. So it'll be very, very interactive. You'll leave with a good idea of what you should do in 2026. So I hope you'll be able to join me for that. We're also members of the Home Builders Association, and I'm in the Professional Women in Building. We have clients, modular manufacturers, as well as builders all over the country. So we really understand your business. And if I do have home services clients on here, there will be content in today's webinar for you as well. Through my legacy agency, SparkGen, we have worked with clients in all industries and some nonprofits too. Um, as I mentioned, my early career was in finance. And so, again, really focused on results and ROI. Builder lead marketing, we have a few different programs. Our foundations is usually refreshing a website and maintaining it. And sometimes that's where our smaller builders start. But then if you really want leads, you've got to drive traffic, you've got to have a program. So that's our Accelerate program. So we offer SEO, we offer pay-per-click, we offer social media management, and then enterprise is for our larger companies. So we do all of the above. And then we do some custom work, maybe some print, some trade shows, billboards, you name it. And we do also offer SEO, pay-per-click, and social media as single offerings. Sometimes you just want to supplement your marketing department. So that is something we offer as well. We are going to be here for about 45 to 55 minutes. If at any time you're like, well, I don't know, I might like just rather to get some help, you can scan this QR code or you can email me. We have a few slots available. This will take you directly to a calendar where you can book a strategy session. This is no obligation, but we will take a look at your website, your competition, what you're doing digitally, and where there are opportunities. And maybe there's a way to work together, but if there isn't, we're happy to help you out. And this QR code brings you to a link tree where you can connect with me on LinkedIn, and you can also connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Again, we love to network and welcome you to our community. And you can also download our free ebook. We are also coming out. I just wrote a book just about marketing for modular manufacturers and builders. That will be coming out, and I should have some copies at the show. So, again, I hope you'll be able to join me there. So we have been doing these webinars on the accelerated growth model. We've taken each of them. If you go to YouTube, you can catch them. Everything from social media, SEO, paid search, which is typically Google Ads, Bing Ads, database or email marketing. And there are in-depth YouTube webinars on this where we really, took a deep dive. I also work with various specialists, so some of the webinars feature those experts. And then, we also have focused on how you can make your website, really convert. So not just an online brochure, but, gathering names, getting leads. And as I mentioned, our next webinar will be focused on local marketing. We are, as you would suspect, very cognizant of, what you really want is ROI, you want leads, you want more sales and profits. So this is a system that we built out all of this content on. So let's talk about the target and buyer behavior. I would like you all to just take a moment and think about who is your target? Who is your ideal prospect? Where have you had the most success? Where are you making, most of your sales and profits from? And you want to get a really clear picture of this person. If you're a large company, maybe you have a couple of targets, but um, a lot of builders, especially if you're more of an individual builder, there's typically somebody that you've really catered to. So, if you think about it, let's say you have somebody looking for an affordable home. Maybe they're, younger, they're just starting out. That person's going to be very different from, let's say, the retiree who might be looking for a very high-end vacation home, let's say in the Cape Cod area. So those people probably are on different social media channels. They probably are looking for a different kind of house. So the type of homes you would have on your website would be very different. They probably drive a different kind of car. You want to get a very clear picture of this person because everything you do in marketing really has to tailor to that target, right? Your messaging, your imagery. If you're selling affordable homes, the types of images are going to be very different than if you are, doing something very upscale, very luxurious. And you can have a good business in either one of those niches, but the reality is, it's if you try to be everything to everyone, you end up really being no one, and your message is very cloudy. Home buying, I don't need to tell you, is obviously very complex, emotional, huge financial decision. You're not selling toothpaste, right, or a t-shirt. This is a big commitment that's going to affect somebody for many, many years. So, it kind of goes without saying that you need to exude trust and authority, not just in your model home or in your, the way you answer the phone, but online. And we are going to get into really kind of people are online looking for houses when they're ready to buy a home. So, how do your prospects find out about you? I remember these big yellow books that used to take up all of our drawer space. I'm sure some of you do as well. And maybe some of this has moved online, but now a buyer's journey is very, very different. In 1981, newspaper ads were actually the most important source after real estate agents. So again, we're not just talking about building a home, but we're talking about buying a home. So building or maybe buying a pre-existing or an existing home. Today, people are looking online, and I'll share some data on that. All home buyers are using the internet. We'll look at even older age groups. They're looking at photos, they're looking at detailed property information, layouts. Almost 80% are using social media in their search. And if you are somebody who also works with realtors, well, they are online too. So, yes, your potential clients are online. And the reality is, everybody is online, right? And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in the coming slides. This is from the National Association of Realtors. They put out this research study, and the internet's used by all age groups. So 97% of all buyers use the internet to search for homes, and 87% in the 75 to 95 age range. So this isn't just for kids anymore. Everybody's using the internet, and they're using it to look for homes. So now, again, they might be looking at existing homes that are available for sale, but a lot of times, of course, somebody might not be able to find what they want in the existing homes. So then they start thinking about building a home. So, the process is going to be very similar. Doing the research, actually looking to see who is out there that can build them a home. And Americans are just online like all day. For this is from Fortune, 7 hours a day. So a lot of our builder clients, I don't think this is true for them personally because they're out visiting job sites, they're talking to clients, they're maybe, visiting suppliers, but their clients, especially if they're dealing with lawyers, business people, really anybody that is in an office is likely online most of the day, at least during the weekdays. And I know this is true for myself. I wish it wasn't, but we are online. That is kind of our reality. We're using our mobile phones, we're using our computers, our laptops, our tablets, and this has become just part of our lives. So again, you want to make sure that given that your prospects are online, that you have the kind of image that you're proud of and that really portrays who you are. So when that target prospect comes along, you are impressing them, and you're really showing your best image. So buyers today, and this is really where we're going in today's particular webinar, 70 to 80%, as I mentioned, of the buyer's journey is complete. There's numerous research studies, Forrester and other companies. And I think we can all just kind of say, yeah, that makes sense. whatever you're buying, a car, even a book, right? You're like reading reviews, and we're going to get into this. The buying journey is really, it's online, and you're doing a lot of research before you ever pick up the phone and talk to somebody. Um, Inbound, which is the term we're going to use, and I'm going to explain that, is really, really powerful because people are doing so much of this journey before they ever come to you. And so you want to make sure you're out there. You are the trusted provider of information when they're out there looking. It's also an age of self-serve. I don't care, regardless of what business you're in, whether you're at the supermarket, you can pick up a scanner, you can scan your own groceries. Uber, I was in Miami a couple months ago and I had the choice of the taxi line or, oh, I just pulled up Uber and I can pick the kind of car I want, figure out exactly how much it's going to cost me. I actually preferred that. And I think that has been proven across many industries. People want that self-serve option, and it doesn't matter really what they're buying. So here's just, this uh, example of a potential persona. This could potentially be somebody that you are dealing with, but this is a young couple. They're two professionals. They have high incomes. They have a growing family, and they're looking for a new home in a great school district. They go their traditional route of contacting a real estate agent, but Tammy, she's out on social media. She sees her friend built a modular home. She's really impressed. She gets this idea. She didn't really know too much about it. She starts researching and learning from the various local builders in her area, you know, um, all about the process, how it's faster, it's sustainable. She likes the sound of this. She and her husband are Googling, so they're start comparing builders and then, gathering information, gathering costs. What are the pitfalls? What could happen? They're doing all of this online in their own time. And as we'll get into, there's a couple different ways to look at the sales process, but they're doing all of this before they ever talk to a salesperson. So, inbound marketing, let's explain this term. And I should have also mentioned these QR codes you see throughout are if you did want to book a strategy session with us. I realize sometimes in the webinars, people can't stay for the full time. So, these are sprinkled throughout if that's something you would like to do. So here's our traditional sales funnel. I think we're all probably familiar with this or intuitively can see that this is the case. I always like to say, if I've never heard of you, you can't build me a house. So I have to become aware of you. And if you think back a few decades, people really became aware through, ads on TV, on radio, billboards. These are kind of the old-fashioned ways of marketing. They're still in existence today, and we'll get into the pluses and minuses of those. Along came social media. So now, I might be on my feed looking at my friends' pictures and I see an ad. We call this like push marketing, which we'll get into. Then, you have inbound, which we're going to go, the next slide gets into that. But you're going to become aware if you are in the market for the product, maybe you're becoming interested, you start comparing vendors, and then potentially, you make a sale. And if you're really happy, you become a brand ambassador. So inbound marketing is actually, I believe the company HubSpot coined this term, but it's this idea of really kind of this 70 to 80% of the buying process is done before you ever are in a sales conversation. So, you get this idea in your head that in this case, you want to build a new home. So you start doing research. You go to Google, right? You go to Bing. You are, keep putting in keywords. You're finding blog posts about, the benefits. You're learning learning about the cost, you're talking to people, you're becoming a visitor. Hopefully, if the companies are smart, they have lead magnets, right? Maybe they've got a checklist or a downloadable guide. You give your email. They start maybe sending you an occasional newsletter or, something to keep you top of mind. And, potentially you are going to become a customer and then hopefully promote their brand. And, this is really kind of the way people are conducting purchasing today. Again, it's not that you can't get an ad and be like, oh, well, that sounds interesting, but there's this whole other way of making a buying decision today through inbound marketing. So, if we had to pick out a picture for inbound versus outbound marketing would probably be like the megaphone, right? Advertisers are reaching out to you, like you're just walking by, you're just watching your TV show, you're just driving your car, and then you hear an ad. You may or may not be in the market for what they're advertising. They're blasting it out there versus inbound, which is like a magnet. So I am searching for you. You have created relevant content, so I'm finding you, right? If whatever I'm trying to buy, and uh, you're creating an experience for me to draw me in as I am seeking information. So these are kind of, if you had to divide them up, and they're not necessarily mutually exclusive, but, inbound tends to be search engine optimization, Google ads, because of the way you're blogging and you're putting content out there, your prospects are finding you when they're searching. They're watching your videos, they're reading your website content. As I mentioned, maybe you have some lead magnets. Outbound radio, TV, all the things that, existed decades ago. And then we add in perhaps social media and some of the internet ads. So pluses and minuses, the pluses of inbound, it tends to have a higher ROI because somebody's already in the mindset that they are looking for the product. It tends to be the best quality leads. You are, reaching a market that's already searching for you. They're coming pre-positioned. You can measure it. Um, Downsides, it takes time and it takes commitment. So this isn't something that's going to happen overnight. It's going to take time for Google to recognize your website as an authority on this type of content. You need to be committed. You can't just, write one blog post and then disappear. This is, at least twice a month. It has to be quality content. So, there's some work involved. Outbound is immediate. Let's say you have an event coming up, boom, you want to run an ad. Um, it can be kind of last minute. Mass appeal products do well with outbound. If you're trying to broadcast, let's say something like a soft drink that you think most of the population would be interested in, then it really makes sense. You're probably reaching a lot of people. It's great for general awareness, but it can be expensive because something like radio, you're paying to reach thousands of people, and really only very few of those people are in the market, especially for something like a home, a very high ticket, really specific product like that. So, you know, something to consider is that if a prospect's building a home and let's say, they want to know what the cost is, so they start to Google it and they start reading reviews, then they see your competitor's video. Like if you're not out there doing this, you're kind of already out of the running, right? So we already know this is how people are conducting their research today. So you have to think about that. It's something just that you really want to keep in mind. So I get this question all the time. Is inbound better than outbound, or vice versa? And really, it depends on your budget. Huge companies do both, right? The Procter and Gambles of the world. Now, a lot of the products they are selling are mass products. Yeah, they're going to be, they want reviews. They want people to say that their soap is the best. But they're also on TV. They're on Super Bowl. They're on, they're doing this because, everybody needs toothpaste, right? Like if you have the budget, then you probably want to be able to use both of these tactics. If you don't have the budget, that again, it also depends on your time frame. Let's say you don't have the budget, but you need something immediate, then maybe you do want to do some outbound, but really long term, we recommend that you're also doing inbound marketing to really match up with how people are conducting their purchasing. So key inbound elements, you need traffic. You want to get the people who are searching. So this could be Google Ads, but also search engine optimization. Now, today on search, you probably noticed there's something called AI summaries at the top. So if your website is known as the authority and has great content, Google is going to include that content in the AI summary. If you have videos, Google is also going to be there showing those videos because Google owns YouTube. So that's just kind of somewhat of a recent change. But these are key for inbound. You want to be the authority. You want your content optimized for SEO. So you want things with the proper tags, the proper, meta descriptions, title tags. You want to do this like there's like if you just launch your website, you want to make sure all your pages are tagged, but then you want to keep optimizing your website over time. So you want to be blogging, you want to be optimizing your blog posts, any new pages that come on, you want to make sure you are optimizing those because if you don't optimize them, then Google doesn't really know what the page is about. And you also, of course, want to practice ethical and best practices because you will get penalized if you don't do that. And as I mentioned, you want to make your website convert. Okay. So it's not enough to just drive traffic to your website. You want to make it easy for somebody to reach you. Phone number, top right, call to action on every page. And you should have a couple of really enticing lead magnets. Maybe it's a checklist, a home building checklist, or, what to know, benefits of traditionally built versus modular. These are things people want to know and are usually willing to give their email and maybe their phone to download something that's valuable, and you want to make it truly valuable. And then you want some automation because when people come in, you want to be able to send them a welcome email. You want to be able to follow up very quickly. You want to be able to nurture those leads. So let's talk about what we like to call the content engine. There's really kind of five areas that when people are trying to make a decision and they are going to be looking at you as the authority, there's kind of five buckets they're looking at. How much does it cost? What are other people saying? How does this compare to the competition? Who's best in class? Have you won any awards? Or are you just kind of in the middle? And what are the problems? What could go wrong? And we're going to tackle each of these. Cost and pricing, this is kind of scary for a lot of companies to put their pricing on their website. Um, the reality is, though, if you're trying to find out how much something's going to cost, it can be very frustrating if you can't find any information on price. So even if you can just give a general idea, the reality is people in their head, and I just spoke to a builder yesterday where they just recently put some pricing because he said, some of people, they actually can afford it, but they assume it's too expensive. And then some people, they realize, when they see the price, oh, I can't afford it. But in that case, do you really want them wasting your time? Probably not, right? So, you don't have to, in most cases, you can't because you're selling something very complicated. But if you can give some idea to somebody or let them know that this is what goes into cost, maybe, if you're not using the highest finishes, Maybe there's some things that make it easier to build. Let them know that, that would lower your cost. And then these are the things that would increase your cost. You don't want to ruin their trust. So give them a general idea. What could go wrong, right? Oh my goodness, everything could go wrong, and everybody's mind goes that way. Are they gonna not build my home properly? What if the plumbing goes out wrong? You want to make sure you address that. What are you doing to assure them that those typical problems that go, awry in a home build, that's not going to happen when you work with you. Help them out, let them know if you are modular, you can actually offer a lot more certainty because you can help lock in prices. You're buying things at volume. Right now with tariffs, with there's some uncertainty, people are worried. You can actually turn this around and make it a benefit. You don't have to worry about material damages. You don't have to worry about weather delays. These are enormous benefits, and these are things that are not problems when you work with us. If you're a stick builder, maybe your process, you've worked it out that no, you don't have to worry about that. This is what we do to make sure that that won't happen. So you want to address their fears up front because they're going to have these fears, whether or not you do or not. And the company that addresses those fears is going to have the trust of the buyer. They are going to compare you. Okay, how does it compare to this guy over here? Well, he says he's cheaper. Well, you say, well, yes, he might be cheaper, but here's why. We are offering a warranty. We are using the highest quality components. You want to acknowledge too where you're an expert. So, if somebody's saying, well, should I stick build? Should I do modular? You could emphasize what are the benefits of how you are conducting your business. You don't need to pretend that you're an expert in a process that you're not, but if you can reassure them, that's going to help. Who's the best in class? If you've won any awards, or maybe you want to think about applying for awards, the various associations offer awards, on a monthly basis, really. The House of the Month, the House of the Year. Consumers are going to love to see that. If you are winning these awards, that offers a lot of reassurance. And the association, that you're part of a big association, and maybe the Better Business Bureau or other local chapters, that can also go a long way to helping somebody feel comfortable. And reviews, right? Whether or not we're buying a $20 book on Amazon, or we're building a house or putting in a new kitchen, we read reviews. We want to see what people are saying about you. So if you have a bad review, and that may happen, how did you address it? Is there a response to it? How did you go about it? Because there's all kinds of studies that show if something goes wrong, but you come back and you really help the person, then actually that person becomes very loyal in terms of purchaser. So if you have anything like that, you want to actually show people that. So what are they asking? So those are kind of the big content buckets. And what you want to do now is you want to think through that framework, and you want to take the questions your prospects are asking, and then you want to blog about those. You want to create videos about those. So that's what we help our clients do. They're the ones a lot of times actually doing the videos, but we help them with the video editing, and these are just some common questions. I'm not going to read all these. I will be sending this deck out so you'll have it for reference. But again, think about those buckets. How much does it cost? How long does it take? What are the customization options? Just answer their questions, right? That will, as people are Googling this, they're Googling these questions, and then Google is going out and they're serving up the website, or they're taking the AI, they're summarizing it from that website. Who answers it best? Who shows the most authority? So that's, this webinar is about building your authority. Answer their questions. The big ones, financing, land, energy efficiency, sustainability, especially for younger people. This is a huge benefit. And I know, we have clients that that's a very big benefit, and modular just naturally is sustainable, offers a lot of sustainable building practices. So you want to answer those questions. And then, of course, anything in real estate, people are worried about their investment, the resale value. So answer that up front. Other things to include, you want to show, not tell, show pictures, show walkthroughs, interiors, exteriors, educate. I think this inbound marketing is so important for modular, especially because of all the misconceptions. So you want to make sure you're educating. You want to answer what questions people have. So have an FAQ, but also use your blog, use your website, use video, use social media, educate people. And also, you can also just show them that you're experienced, that you have a great team, let them know the basics, of course, geography. And if you have any partnerships, like financing partnerships, you want to put those out there too. So I'm going to get into a little bit about video, different kinds of content. Video is huge. 73% of homeowners say they're more likely to go with a builder after watching a video. 84% of people say that they've been convinced to buy something after watching a video. This is why our social media feeds are just full of video. Video keeps, people engaged. They stay on a website longer. And for a lot of people, this is how they prefer to consume content. Different people learn in different ways. Some people are readers, some people are watchers. Um, YouTube is the number two search engine in the world. It's owned by Google. So people are out there, they're searching on YouTube for content. So don't forget, you should have a YouTube channel as well. So when you're creating your video, yes, put it on your website, put it on social media, but put it on YouTube. And you want to also optimize the way you describe your videos with the keywords that people are searching for. So think about those big questions and then how you're answering them and put that right in the written descriptions. What are the ideas for video? I mean, you have interior and exterior tours, set day if you're modular, customer stories. Everyone loves real people, real stories. They want to hear, somebody like themselves, growing family, needed to move, and then, oh, look at my gorgeous new home. I'm so happy. Behind the scenes, even inside your office, model home, factory tours, webinars like the one I'm doing today. We are going to, we do what we preach. We'll be taking this webinar, as I mentioned, and we'll be posting it on YouTube. We'll be putting it on our website. We have a new Academy section on our website, so we're going to be putting it there, cutting it into shorts and reels, and getting it out on social media. So these are, you take the time to do the one long form piece of content, but then there's just, a whole host of ways to use it. Again, go back to those frequently asked questions, record short videos that answer the questions. And then there's also so many like free or low cost tools. You can use your iPhone to record. Sometimes that's even better. It's not overly professional. We do video editing in our agency, but you can also do some things on your own. There's something called CapCut. It's an app on your phone, so you could use that. There's many others, but that's one that, we've had success with. When it comes to video, you want to keep it short. So if you do have a long one, not to say, we're going to put our long form webinar out, but then you want to start cutting it into smaller pieces because long form does not do well on something like social media. You want to make it 90 seconds is a typical reel. So you want to keep that in mind. You can record multiple videos in one session. If you want it to seem like you recorded them at different times, change your costume, change your sweater or something like that. Use your smartphone. Again, you don't really need professional equipment. You want to be near windows. You want some good lighting. You don't want to be backlit. There's a lot of YouTube videos, even just on that topic, that can help you. And you want to repurpose it, right? And don't forget, if you have some great videos, you can put those into your drip campaigns, into newsletters. Like you can continue to use these over and over again. And then blogging, somebody said, isn't blogging over? And it really is not. Blogging is a very important part of your digital strategy. It's, every WordPress site should have a blog built right into it. It's an easy way to get content out there. And Google, starts to notice that your website has the fresh content. If you work with an SEO agency, like, we offer SEO, there are ways to kind of make it so you're linking it to other parts of your website as well. You're using inbound links, you're using outbound links. All of these things are signaling to the crawlers at Google that, yes, if you've got a good piece of content, then this is the way, you know, to go. You're going to want to check out this website. Companies that blog get 55% more website visitors and 67% more leads. That's according to HubSpot. 77% of internet users read blogs regularly. It builds trust and authority. People would rather, read articles in this new buying journey. This is how people are getting informed. Honestly, I can vouch for this. Even myself, over the weekend, we're thinking of doing some work in our house. I found a blogger who she designs kitchens. I may or may not go with her, but she had some excellent content, and I didn't know anything about this company until I started reading her blog. So, it's still a really important way to inform your prospects. And it helps you rank, right, in the search engines. And you want kind of some longer form blog posts. Those tend to do really well. Again, you want to take your 5 content buckets and write blogs. I'm going to share this presentation with you, but here you go. Like, how much does it cost? How long does it take? Just put it right out there, post it in a blog, and answer people's questions. Again, start with the FAQs. Great thing to do is pair it with video. Batch write, add your visuals. Again, people love to look at beautiful homes, so you could be talking about how long it takes. You could be showing somebody the process, show them the end result. You're going to want to optimize for SEO, use the question as your headline, include your keywords, add a call to action, book a consultation, come to our factory tour, whatever it is. Don't forget, you don't want to overly sell in these things. These pieces should be articles, they should be informative, but it's fine at the end to have a call to action. And again, you can repurpose this everywhere. You put the effort in once. And the other thing is that some of these blog posts may be the biggest traffic attractor that you have on your website. So you write one blog post and it's the gift that keeps on giving. So how do you measure? Well, if you don't have Google Analytics on your website, you need to have that. It's free. Any agency or developer can put this on for you. And you just go to this link, google.com/analytics, to sign up. So within Google Analytics, you will be able to see how much traffic you are getting to your website, where it's coming from. And then if you go into the engagement section in the reporting, you can see pages and landing pages. So you'll be able to see, which blog posts, how much traffic they're getting, which ones are the top, which pages on your website. So you will have, a lot of data, and over time you can actually see which ones are better, and perhaps you're going to create more content, around that topic. potentially. So yes, so I just mentioned this. You optimize it over time, but there's a whole section in there under engagement that, and the other thing it'll tell you is how much time people are spending on certain pages. So I guess at this point, I think the best question to ask is what would it mean to you if you had a really strong inbound marketing program and you had more lead sales and profits? You were the authority. You were getting your prospects pre-positioned to buy before they ever talk to your salespeople. You were getting more quality leads because you were giving people the information they need to even figure out, are they the right prospect for you? Are you the right builder or manufacturer or, home service company for them? So, you have to ask yourself, what would that mean? And would you need some help? As I mentioned, we do offer some limited slots every month. We do a free consultation and we'll take a look at your website. We'll look at how you're being found in search. How are you ranking? We like to ask you, who are your top competitors? We'll take a look and see how much traffic they're getting, how you're ranking compared to them. We'll look at your social media. We'll take a look at your website. And, this is no obligation. We're more than happy to do that. We don't inundate people if you decide to take us up with, nonstop phone calls or emails. That's not the purpose of it. There may or may not be a reason to work together, a mutual, agreement. But again, we're happy to help. The other thing, as I mentioned, we do have a lot of resources on our website. We have a new Academy page, which we're going to continue to update and continue to put valuable content because we practice what we preach, but also want you all to know that that's all just free information along with our free ebook. So at this point, I would like to thank you all for coming to the webinar. I hope you can make the next one, or if you're at the show, I would love to meet you. We are also going to be exhibiting in addition to my speaking engagement. And I would like to thank the Modular Home Builders Association for promoting the webinar and getting the word out. Again, thank you so much for attending. You can connect with me at that email. Please go to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and follow Builder Lead Marketing as well. That's where we also advertise when we are going to have, either a next webinar or a new blog post or anything else that might be of interest to you. So have a great day. I hope you enjoyed the webinar, and we'll see you soon.